You might know Jamaica for its sun-soaked beaches and reggae beats, but beneath the surface lies a wild world of pirates, fiery food, and jaw-dropping natural wonders you won't find anywhere else on Earth. Let's dive into 15 mind-blowing facts about the most unique country in the Americas. Number 15, Jamaica, the beautiful gem of the Caribbean. You think you know Jamaica. Beaches, reggae, weed, Bob Marley posters in college dorms. That's it, right? Neat little island wrapped in sunshine and steel drums. But here's the thing, what you know about Jamaica could fit on the back of a souvenir shot glass. Because while you're busy sipping piña coladas and posting filtered selfies from Montego Bay, Jamaica's out here carrying stories, real ones. Messy, magical, defiant stories that most travel vlogs skip because they're too busy selling the fantasy. And let's be real, fantasy's easier. No one wants to admit their favorite vacation spot has a history bloodier than a Tarantino film and a culture stronger than the espresso you pretended to like in Italy. So let's start with this uncomfortable truth. Jamaica is not a postcard. It's a pulse. A fight. A paradox wrapped in sunshine and served with Scotch bonnet heat. Here's something they don't tell you at the airport welcome desk. This island's got 120 rivers, 200 species of birds, and only 2.9 million people. But it gave the world a global music genre, sprinting legends, and the best damn jerk chicken on Earth. And you're telling me this place isn't built different? Let's back up. Jamaica isn't just Caribbean nice. It's colonized 3 times and still didn't die kind of tough. Spain, Britain, pirates, slavery, uprising, independence. Repeat. If this island had a Tinder bio, it'd say, survived colonizers. Still hot. Still not interested. And get this, the Blue Mountains? Yeah, those dreamy peaks that look like desktop wallpaper? They're so high, they grow some of the rarest coffee in the world, the kind that sells for over $100 a pound in Japan. Meanwhile, you're out here microwaving Folgers like it's a flex. Oh, and let's talk speed. Jamaica's not just fast, it's generationally fast. Like, we don't just win Olympic gold, we make you question your gene pool fast. There's a reason Usain Bolt had to slow down to celebrate. The man won before the race started. But for every track medal and tropical breeze, Jamaica's still fighting demons. Tourism money comes in. Most of it leaves just as fast. Locals hustle, grind, survive. All while outsiders sip cocktails 50 feet from communities that have never had running water. But you won't see that in the brochure. Too real. Too raw. Too much like truth. And let's not pretend this is unique to Jamaica. It's just the boldest version of a story happening everywhere. Beauty that hides struggle. Resilience dressed up as relaxation. Jamaica is like that loud, brilliant friend who's always the life of the party. Funny, magnetic, unforgettable. But when the music fades, they're sitting in silence with trauma nobody wants to ask about. So here's the curiosity loop you didn't see coming. What if everything you love about Jamaica is actually the byproduct of pain no one taught you to see? The music? Born from protest. The food? A fusion of necessity and defiance. The pride? Forged in the fire of people who refuse to be erased. And that's why Jamaica isn't just a destination. It's a declaration. A reminder that beauty isn't always soft. Sometimes, it's loud. It's sharp. It's unapologetically alive. So yeah, you can visit for the beaches. But if that's all you see, you didn't visit Jamaica. You just took a nap in its shadow. Still think you know Jamaica? Wait till you hear about what's buried in its hills. Number 14 is gonna mess with your idea of paradise. Let's keep going. You're not ready, but Jamaica is. Number 14, Jamaica's pleasure resorts, where wearing nothing is welcome. Let's not pretend we haven't all Googled it. You hear hedonism too, and suddenly your search history's sweating. You pretend you're just curious about the culture, but deep down, you're wondering if you've got the confidence to strut through a buffet line wearing nothing but SPF 50 and misplaced optimism. Spoiler alert, most people don't. But here's the thing, some do. Loudly. Repeatedly. In full eye contact. And you're not ready. Let's establish some ground rules. Yes, Jamaica has beaches. Yes, Jamaica has all-inclusive resorts. But this? This isn't sandals and sangria. This is tequila and temptation. This is where your repressed coworker disappears to find themselves, and comes back with a tan, a necklace, and zero eye contact. Because hedonism too isn't a vacation, it's an identity crisis with room service. And while you're busy pretending you're too mature to care, let's admit something brutal. You're not bored, you're repressed. You're not too old for adventure, you're just exhausted from pretending you never wanted one. And here comes the sting. Most people don't know how to relax unless it's socially approved. You need permission to unwind, to play, to feel something unfiltered. So when a place like Hedonism 2 says, clothing optional, what they're really saying is, drop the act. All of it. And people do. You'd be shocked how fast humans go from buttoned up to bare-all when there's a swim-up bar and zero judgment. Over 2,000 guests a year come here not just to vacation, but to escape the script. Married couples. Solo adventurers. Retired accountants. People you'd never expect, letting go of expectations they never signed up for in the first place. You ever wonder why the freest people you know are also the ones who stopped caring what anyone thinks? Yeah, that's what's happening here, with more body glitter and less eye contact. See, the real trip isn't what's happening on the beach. It's what's happening inside people's heads. Because this isn't about sex. It's about permission. To be loud. To be soft. To be ridiculous. To stop filtering every impulse through 12 years of corporate conditioning and social media shame. And before you say, it's not for me, ask yourself, is it not for you, or are you just too afraid of who you might be when no one's looking? Hedonism too is what happens when you take every what if you've buried under spreadsheets and bills, and give it a room with a mini fridge and an open bar. It's the physical embodiment of every I wish I could, that got silenced by responsibility and polite smiles. It's not for everyone. But maybe, just maybe, it's exactly what you need. Not to go, but to admit what you've been craving. Because if you can't laugh, relax, or be a little wild without guilt, you're not living. You're just existing, fully clothed and half asleep. Number 13, Jamaican men, living like kings, fully cared for by women? You ever notice how some men act like they deserve a parade just for showing up? Yeah, in Jamaica, they actually get one. And it's thrown by their girlfriends. Not even kidding. In many Jamaican households, there's a silent, or not so silent, understanding. The man gets the throne. The woman builds the castle. Financially. Emotionally. Sometimes literally. Now, before your inner feminist or bro defender explodes, breathe. Because this isn't about judgment. It's about facts. In a country where 43% of Jamaican households are led by single mothers, women don't just run the house, they are the house. They pay the bills. Raise the kids. Hold down 2 jobs. And somehow, still find time to cater to a man who thinks cooking rice is a personality trait. And here's the twist. Many women are fine with it. At least on the surface. They've adapted to a system that low-key rewards emotional detachment and glorifies men just for not disappearing. In Jamaica, the idea of a man having multiple baby mamas isn't shocking. It's Thursday. And the expectation? Women hold it down. Smile through it. Normalize it. Because if you're too emotional, you're bitter. Too independent? Hard to love. You ever wonder why the strongest women you know are also the most exhausted? It's because they're carrying everything, and everyone, while being told they're too much. But let's flip it. Jamaican men? Charismatic. Confident. Culturally raised to take up space like they own it. And honestly, that kind of energy doesn't come from ego. It comes from decades of being treated like royalty in a matriarchal kingdom. It's the vibe of someone who knows someone else will always cover the check. Now, to be fair, not all Jamaican men live like this. But the stereotype didn't come from thin air. It came from generations of cultural expectations that say, men lead the dance, but women choreograph the entire performance, fund the stage, and sell the tickets. The result? A gender role reversal so bold, it'd make Western society choke on its double standards. Because over here, we praise women for being boss babes, as long as they don't expect too much in return. Over there, the boss is the babe. And she probably bought dinner. So next time someone says, real men provide, ask them, where? Because in Jamaica, the roles are flipped, the game is different, and somehow, both sides are still playing like they're winning. Number 12, the beauty of Jamaican women and international dating trends. Let's just say what everyone's been silently scrolling past. Jamaican women don't just turn heads, they break necks. But here's the twist no one wants to admit. We act shocked like it's some genetic lottery, when really, it's centuries of global chaos layered like a spicy cultural lasagna. African roots. Indian influence. British colonization. Spanish touches. Chinese sprinkles. What do you get? Beauty that doesn't fit into categories, because it created its own. Jamaica has won 4 Miss World titles, more than most countries 10 times its size. Let that sink in. A tiny island, not even the size of Connecticut, is out here beating global superpowers, with cheekbones. But hold up, beauty is currency. And in the international dating scene, Jamaican women aren't just holding value, they're inflation-proof. Tinder, Bumble, Caribbean Cupid, you name it, she's been messaged 847 times by guys who still live with their mom but swear they're different. You ever wonder why Jamaican women swipe left so fast? It's because most of the messages sound like a half-baked mixtape intro. Hey beautiful, you ever been treated like a queen? Sis is the queen. You're late to the coronation. Let's go deeper. The dating dynamic in Jamaica isn't just different, it's blunt. There's no fake talking stage that drags on for 6 months and 14 half-dates. It's direct. It's fast. Sometimes it's a little too real. 1 minute you're vibing. Next minute, she's pregnant, he's ghosting, and everybody's still dancing like nothing happened. It's chaotic. And oddly, addictive. Because deep down, we don't want safe. We want someone who'll clap back, cook a fire meal, and call us out for being emotionally constipated, all before noon. Jamaican women don't play the demure, soft-spoken trope. They're bold, vocal, a little dangerous. And that's why people keep coming back for more, even when they can't handle it. Truth is, the world isn't obsessed with Jamaican women just for their looks. It's the attitude, the unpredictability, the fact that you never really know if she's flirting with you, or preparing to ruin your entire ego, and somehow you still say hi. So if you're swiping in hopes of finding an island goddess who'll pamper your insecurities, good luck. You're not looking for love. You're looking for therapy in heels. Number 11. Jamaican women, carrying the world on their heads. Let's cut the fluff. You ever see a Jamaican woman balancing a basket on her head while weaving through traffic, two kids clinging to her skirt, phone in hand, and not missing a single beat? No back brace. No complaints. Just rhythm, poise, and pure unfiltered "I got this." Meanwhile, you get a tension headache just thinking about a Monday morning Zoom call. Let's not kid ourselves. Jamaican women have been doing weighted squats disguised as daily survival since before core strength became a fitness buzzword. But here's the sting. While influencers post yoga poses for clout, actual Jamaican women are out here balancing real weight with elegance no Pilates class could ever teach. This isn't about posture. It's about culture and pain tolerance, and the kind of quiet strength you only get from a lifetime of being expected to do everything, with nothing, and still look good doing it. Now here's the fact you didn't know you needed. In many Jamaican towns, especially rural parishes, women still carry up to 70 pounds on their heads, water buckets, produce, laundry, all without spilling a drop or snapping a vertebrae. Meanwhile, some of us pull a hamstring picking up a Trader Joe's bag. So what's the deal with the head-carrying thing? It's not just a cool party trick. It's ancient. It's functional. And it's a metaphor we've all been ignoring. These women carry weight so evenly, the world barely notices they're carrying anything at all. Sound familiar? Yeah. Because this isn't just about pineapples in a basket, it's about emotional labor no one talks about. She's raising kids, paying bills, checking her man's phone for suspicious emojis, and still has time to press your clothes for church. But let her forget one thing, suddenly she's slipping. Funny how the world loves strong women until it's time to actually support them. You ever wonder why she doesn't ask for help? Because history taught her that when she does, she'll either be ignored or mocked. So she carries. Silently. With posture so upright, you'd think her pain came with GPS. And let's be real, most of us couldn't carry her load even if it came with wheels and a built-in playlist. We romanticize her strength but never respect her exhaustion. So next time you see a Jamaican woman walking like a goddess, chin up, balancing 40 pounds of mangoes and expectation, don't just say wow. Say damn, I see you. Because she's not just balancing fruit. She's balancing generations of sacrifice, culture and pressure, with elegance that never asked for applause, just some damn recognition. Number 10. Music taxis. Jamaica's mobile street parties. Let's not pretend we haven't all been there. You hop into a cab expecting a quiet ride and suddenly, boom, you're in what feels like an unauthorized episode of Fast and Furious, dancehall drift. Bass shaking your spleen, horn blaring in Morse code, driver vibing like he's headlining Coachella. And you? You're just trying to make it to your auntie's house without catching tinnitus. But here's the kicker, you love it. You act like you're annoyed, like it's too much. But deep down, it scratches an itch Spotify never could. Because it's not just music. It's soul. It's rebellion. It's the national don't give a damn soundtrack rolling on 4 rims and a subwoofer. And while the rest of the world is begging for quiet quitting and noise cancelling everything, Jamaica said, nah, turn that all the way up. Because here, taxis aren't just vehicles. They're rolling concerts with questionable seat belts. Welcome to the wild world of Jamaica's music taxis. Now, here's the fact that'll bend your brain. According to Jamaican transportation stats, over 60% of urban taxi drivers install custom sound systems, often costing more than the car itself. Yeah, you read that right. He may skip an oil change, but you better believe his JBLs are tight. But before you judge, ask yourself, why do people risk fines, sound pollution tickets, and the occasional shut that noise off from grumpy passengers, just to blast dancehall at 8 a.m.? Because in Jamaica, music isn't background noise. It's identity. It's a rolling history lesson, a protest anthem, and a mental health break all in one. Think about it, when the world chews you up and spits you out before sunrise, sometimes the only therapy you can afford is a $2 ride with Capleton screaming in your ear. Still, the government's been cracking down. New regulations limit decibel levels, restrict speaker modifications, and enforce quiet zones. Sounds reasonable, right? Until you realize that to some, silencing the taxi is like muting the culture. You're not just cutting volume, you're amputating expression. And here's where the metaphor slaps. These taxis? They're like your loud friend who says what everyone's thinking but no one dares to say. A little rough around the edges. Slightly illegal. But absolutely necessary. They make the city pulse. They make the people feel seen, heard, alive. You ever wonder why a 5-minute taxi ride in Jamaica feels more emotional than your last therapy session? It's because it is. You're not just riding to your destination. You're riding through heartbreak, resistance, joy, defiance, all remixed into rhythms and rim shots. So next time you duck into a music taxi and instinctively reach for the volume knob, pause. Then lean back, surrender, and let the rhythm slap you into remembering this simple truth. Sometimes, the loudest voices are the only ones telling the truth. Number 9, world's rarest coffee, grown in Jamaica, but not everyone has tasted it. Let's be honest. Most of us drink coffee like it's a survival 4 drip. We don't even taste it anymore, we just need it not to suck. But once in a while, some smug coffee snob sips a $90 cup and says, subtle notes of citrus and nostalgia. And suddenly, you start wondering if your caffeine habit is basic. Well, welcome to Blue Mountain Coffee, the Beyoncé of beans. Grown in Jamaica's mist-soaked Blue Mountains, higher than most people's ambition, and harvested like it's made of unicorn tears. It's smooth, low acid, and so rare, even some Jamaicans haven't tasted it. Here's the first slap you in the face fact. Over 80% of Jamaica's Blue Mountain coffee is exported to Japan. Yeah. The country that brought us anime and vending machines that sell everything corner the market on Jamaica's national liquid gold. So while you're out here pretending that Starbucks Reserve is fancy, there's a farmer in Jamaica handpicking beans so delicate they make your oat milk latte taste like swamp water. But let's cut through the hype. What actually makes it rare? It's not just geography. It's altitude, volcanic soil, constant cloud cover, and a tedious as hell process where beans are inspected by hand. Every single one. Imagine picking out raisins from a fruitcake, blindfolded, while standing on a cliff. That level of detail. And the result? A taste profile that's so smooth, even bitter won't show up uninvited. Low acidity. Silky mouthfeel. Hints of cocoa, herbs, floral notes. Basically what your therapist wishes you'd feel after a breakthrough. But here's the kicker. Most people who say they've tried it, haven't. Why? Because imposters are everywhere. The label says Blue Mountain, but unless it's certified by the Jamaican Coffee Industry Board, you might just be sipping overpriced bean soup with a nice story. So next time someone flexes their rare coffee, ask this. Was it grown between 3,000 and 5,500 feet above sea level in the St. Andrew, Portland, or St. Thomas parishes? No? Then congrats, Karen, you drank Mount Regular. And let's not even talk about the price. Some Blue Mountain blends go for $100 a pound. Which sounds insane. Until you realize people pay more than that for NFTs of pixelated monkeys and still sleep at night. But let's be real, the scarcity isn't the problem. It's the access. The best things in the world are always locked behind velvet ropes and inflated price tags. We romanticize rare like it's divine, but really, it's just a polite way of saying you can't afford it. So if you've never tasted Blue Mountain coffee, you're not uncultured. You're just not part of the 1% who can casually drop a car payment on bean water. And that's the bitter truth. Some of the world's finest flavors are reserved for people who already have too much, while the rest of us sip mediocrity just to stay awake. Number 8, Port Royal, once the wickedest city on earth. You ever feel like the world's spiraling, but deep down you know, we're just playing catch up? Like we didn't invent chaos, we just inherited it from people who partied harder, sinned louder, and got swallowed whole for it? Yeah. Welcome to Port Royal, Jamaica, the Vegas of the 1600s, if Vegas were run by pirates and had zero moral hangovers. This place wasn't just wild. It was so sinful, even hell took notes. Drunken brawls, brothels per block, and gold pouring through taverns like beer at a frat house. It was the ultimate YOLO, before we even knew that word existed. But here's the soul-stinging truth. We glamorize rebellion now. We wear hot mess like a badge. But Port Royal? They lived it, until the earth literally cracked open and buried the city underwater. June 7, 1692. A 7.5 magnitude earthquake hit. Buildings crumbled. Streets sank. The ocean swallowed 33 acres of pure, unfiltered debauchery in minutes. You ever wonder what it takes for an entire city to get ghosted by nature? That's your answer. Now here's the wild part. What went down didn't stay down. Underwater archaeologists have been pulling preserved artifacts from the sunken city. Plates still intact, structures eerily frozen in time, even entire taverns. Port Royal became one of the only sunken cities in the Western Hemisphere you can actually study, like Atlantis, but with rum breath and less PR. But let's kill the Hollywood myth. This wasn't some romantic pirate fairy tale. This was capitalism with cutlasses. A free-for-all where men gambled away fortunes before breakfast and paid for sins they couldn't even spell. We love to say, live fast, die young. Port Royal said, hold my grog, and went straight into the ocean. It's what happens when indulgence isn't a weekend. It's the infrastructure. See, we like to think we're so advanced now. Like our sins are cleaner because they come with touchscreens and loyalty points. But guess what? Greed is greed. Lust is lust. Whether it's crypto scams or colonial pirates, we just changed the costume. Port Royal didn't collapse because of an earthquake. It collapsed because the foundation was wrought in a three-piece suit. And yet, It's fascinating, right? Because deep down, part of you wants to see it. To walk those sunken streets. To touch the bones of a city that lived like there was no tomorrow, and got exactly that. So here's your curiosity loop. What else lies beneath Jamaica's waters? And what secrets did the sea decide we weren't ready for? That's not just history. That's a mirror. Number 7. Jamaica, land of the fastest runners on the planet. Let's be honest. Most of us get winded walking up the stairs. Meanwhile, Jamaica's over there casually producing human cheetahs like it's part of the school curriculum. It's not just Usain Bolt, though yes, the man is basically a Marvel character with a Jamaican passport. It's the entire island. You blink, and another teenager with legs like pistons just shattered a record in Kingston. You ever wonder why that is? Why this one little country, barely the size of Connecticut, keeps making the rest of the world look like it's stuck in slow motion? Here's a brutal truth you're not ready for. Jamaica didn't just get fast, it built fast. And while everyone else was busy handing out participation trophies, Jamaicans were turning school races into blood sport. Start with culture. In Jamaica, sprinting isn't some hobby you pick up after piano lessons. It's war, with spikes. Kids race from the time they can stand. By high school, they're clocking Olympic-level speeds at Champs, the national track meet where teens get treated like gods or ghosts depending on their finish time. You want pressure? Try running in front of 30,000 people at age 15, and still beating the clock. Now throw in genetics. Jamaica has a high concentration of people with the ACTN3 speed gene, the same one found in elite sprinters worldwide. It's like Mother Nature said, yeah, let's add turbo mode. Add to that a diet that includes yams, green bananas, and callaloo, foods loaded with natural starch and iron, the original performance enhancers. Sorry, protein bars. You're not invited. But here's what no one wants to admit. Jamaica's success doesn't come from luck or some island magic. It comes from a country that actually expects excellence, not just celebrates it when it happens. Meanwhile, we're over here calling someone a prodigy just because they showed up to practice twice in a row. So here's your curiosity loop. If Jamaica can create world-class athletes with limited facilities and barely any funding, what's our excuse? No, seriously, what is it? We've got billion-dollar sports complexes and trainers with PhDs, but Jamaica? They've got grit, community, and the psychological equivalent of a starter pistol aimed at your future. In a world that's addicted to shortcuts, Jamaica runs on one thing: discipline disguised as culture. So yeah, they're fast. Not because they're born different, but because they're raised hungry. And the world? Still trying to catch up. Number 6, Kingston, where vibrant life meets rich Jamaican culture. Let's get real. You say Kingston, and most people either picture Bob Marley or a crime stat they saw on a lazy Tuesday news scroll. It's either beachside beats or bullets. No in between, right? But here's the truth your vacation brochure won't print. Kingston is not the glossy paradise influencer reels sell you. It's messy, loud, alive, and yes, sometimes dangerous. But it's also real in a world that's completely overdosed on filters and fake smiles. You ever feel like your city's soul got replaced with a Starbucks and a silent burnout epidemic? Welcome to Kingston, where identity didn't just survive gentrification, it pushed back with a bass line. Let's hit you with some fast truth. Did you know Jamaica produces more music per capita than almost any other country on earth? And Kingston? It's the heartbeat. The birthplace of reggae, dancehall, ska, dub. Basically the DNA of rebellion with a groove. This city invented vibes before the word even got co-opted by people who say, I'm a creative, but haven't created anything since 2016. But here's where it cuts deep. Kingston didn't become culturally rich because life was easy. It became magnetic because people had to sing to be heard. When systems failed them, they built sound systems. When the world ignored their pain, they made it rhyme. That's not cute. That's survival. And if you think urban dynamics is just a fancy phrase for rough neighborhood, congratulations, you've missed the point and the plot. See, Kingston isn't just chaotic, it's choreographed. Street vendors run on schedules tighter than corporate boardrooms. Barbershops double as politics forums. Corner stores? Therapy sessions without the $200 bill or the fake empathy. And here's your curiosity loop. Why is it that the places we fear most are the ones that produce the rawest art, the deepest thought, and the realest people? Don't answer yet. Sit with that. Because Kingston is the anti-corporate capital. It's where hustle isn't a brand, it's breakfast. Where people don't talk about grind set, they just grind. Where the kid with a mic in his hand is more powerful than any suit with a mic in his lapel. Contrast that with our world, where we scream authenticity, while curating every inch of our lives like a Pinterest board with trust issues. Kingston doesn't curate. It erupts. It's reggae blaring at midnight and debates that sound like rap battles. It's potholes next to murals that could make you cry. It's church choirs in the morning and dancehall in the alley by night, not in conflict, but in harmony. Because that's life here, full spectrum, no dimmer switch. So yeah, Kingston is chaotic. But it's also what your city wishes it had. A pulse. It doesn't care about your approval. It's not looking to impress you. It's just being exactly what it is. Unapologetically alive. Number 5. Jamaica, boasting some of the Caribbean's most beautiful beaches. Let's get honest. You've seen the Instagram posts. Crystal clear water. People who somehow have abs and cocktails at the same time. And you say, one day, I'll go to Jamaica. Right. The same way you said you'd start meditating, stop texting your ex, and drink more water. But here's the part that stings a little. You're not too busy, you're just too numb. Because when you live in a world where Wi-Fi is stronger than your will to live, a beach doesn't feel like a getaway. It feels like fiction. And that's the lie you've bought into, that a beach is a luxury, not a reset button. Now here's the punch that'll wake your soul up. Doctor's Cave Beach in Montego Bay isn't just pretty, it's been pulling in global elites since the 1920s. Why? Because the mineral-rich waters were believed to have healing powers. Yeah. While you're busy healing through passive-aggressive tweets and overpriced therapy apps, some folks just went for a swim. Frenchman's Cove? It looks like someone photoshopped Eden and dropped it in the Caribbean. But you wouldn't know, because you're still figuring out PTO, and waiting for Mercury to leave retrograde like that's what's been blocking your happiness. And then there's the sound. Not waves. I'm talking reggae. That slow, soul-soaked rhythm pulsing through beach bars like truth disguised as music. Because let's be real, nothing reminds you you're alive quite like a Bob Marley lyric while your toes sink into warm sand and your stress evaporates faster than your ambition on a Monday. You ever wonder why the people who seem too chill always end up outliving the ones hustling for 16 hours a day? Sit with that. Because Jamaica isn't just nice views, it's a spiritual contradiction. It's where the world slows down, not because it's lazy, but because it remembers what matters. Time. Laughter. Sunlight that hits your skin like it's been saving warmth just for you. Meanwhile, you're stuck in a routine that feels like an emotional treadmill, sweating, exhausted, going nowhere. That's not hustle, that's self-inflicted purgatory. Jamaican beaches don't ask you to be productive. They dare you to be present. To stop doom scrolling and start existing. And here's the contrast that'll bite a little. You're working like your beach house is waiting, but living like your coffin's already on layaway. So yeah, maybe you do need that cliché vacation. Maybe the most rebellious thing you can do in this overstimulated, overworked, over-it world is sit still. On a beach. With sand in your toes, salt in your hair, and not a single notification you care about. Because the truth is, the waves don't care about your deadlines. The sun won't judge your body. And the ocean? It's been cleansing souls longer than your therapist's been charging by the hour. Number 4. Jamaica's must-visit destinations. Let's just call it. You're not undecided, you're terrified of joy. You scroll through travel reels like they're fantasy fiction, whispering, wow, that looks amazing, with all the conviction of a soggy napkin. You want peace, adventure, maybe even a little soul rehab, but only if it doesn't mean leaving your apartment, your routine, or your emotional crutches. Now here's the slap you didn't see coming. There's a 180-foot waterfall in Jamaica you can climb. Not watch. Not photograph. Climb. Dunn's River Falls. Yeah, while you're debating whether to do yoga or just cry in a Target parking lot again, people are literally scaling waterfalls barefoot in Ocho Rios. Here's your fast food burger that tastes like Michelin. That fall? It's one of the only living, growing waterfalls in the world. You heard right. It regenerates. Which is more than we can say for your hope after a third straight dating app ghost. And if that's not enough, let's talk 7 Mile Beach in Negril. Spoiler, it's not 7 miles. It's longer. Because even beaches in Jamaica underpromise and overdeliver. Unlike your last job, your last relationship, and your last "I'm totally fine" text. It's the kind of place where time gets drunk, takes its shoes off, and says, let's not go back. White sand so soft it feels like your childhood blanket, back when your only trauma was accidentally seeing your parents dance to Marvin Gaye. And just when you think Jamaica's done showing off, here comes the Rose Hall Great House, a legit haunted mansion. Not some knockoff ghost tour with flickering lights and overpriced merch. This is real history, real hauntings, and a woman named Annie Palmer who allegedly murdered 3 husbands and still roams the halls. Think Downton Abbey, if Lady Mary had a machete and unresolved rage. You ever wonder why people who travel seem so different? It's not the tan. It's the transformation. Because places like these don't just give you views, they give you perspective. They stretch your comfort zone until it snaps, then rebuild it with reggae, waterfalls, and fried plantains. Meanwhile, back home, you're arguing with strangers in comment sections and pretending that your AirPods and a walk around the block is me time. Let's drop the nicey nice. If you're not planning a trip, you're planning your burnout. Your soul's not craving more hustle. It's craving life. And life isn't in your inbox. It's in Dunn's River Mist. It's in a sunset that doesn't care about your follower count. It's in a ghost story that makes you feel something again. So yeah, Jamaica has must-visits. But the real must-visit? A version of you that remembers how to live. Number 3, Jamaica, island of the Caribbean's most vibrant and thrilling festivals. Let's be honest, when was the last time you actually felt alive? Not functioned. Not survived your calendar. I mean gut-deep goosebump, is this even real alive? Exactly. Because we've traded joy for productivity, and now we pretend a double espresso counts as celebrating life. But Jamaica? Jamaica laughs in your burnout. It doesn't throw parties, it erupts with them. This island doesn't ask permission to feel. It doesn't schedule happiness. It lives it, out loud, unapologetically, in surround sound, full color, chest-thumping rhythm you can't scroll past. Let's get your soul reacquainted with what it forgot. Carnival. Not the watered-down parade you saw on Instagram with 2 girls and a Bluetooth speaker. I'm talking thousands in the street. Feathers. Glitter. Bass lines that hit harder than your therapist ever did. And here's your fast food burger, 5-star flavor stat. During Jamaica Carnival, Kingston's economy sees a multi-million-dollar boost in 1 week. Translation: joy has ROI. Meanwhile, your spreadsheet got a formatting update. Yay. Now lean in. You ever wonder why people cry at music festivals? It's not the song. It's the release. Because no one teaches you how to let go without guilt, except maybe Reggae Sumfest. Held in Montego Bay, it's the largest concert festival in the Caribbean. And it doesn't just play reggae, it resurrects you with it. We're not talking sit and nod politely music. We're talking feel it in your kneecaps, even if you didn't stretch music. It's James Brown meets Bob Marley in a place where national pride isn't subtle, it's sacred. And that brings us to Jamaica Independence Day, August 6th. A whole country remembers who they are, where they came from, and why freedom isn't just a flag, it's a lifestyle. Parades. Pageants. Fireworks. The kind of celebration that makes your 4th of July barbecue look like 2 dudes fighting over potato salad. You're out here planning self-care weekends with bath bombs and burnout. Meanwhile, Jamaicans are out here dancing through generational trauma and turning it into triumph. Let me drop something that'll itch in your brain for days. You ever notice how the loudest cultures are often the most emotionally healthy? Jamaica isn't loud because it's obnoxious. It's loud because it's free. And when you're free, you don't whisper your joy. We're not tired. We're numb. And numb people need noise, not silence, to wake up. So go ahead, keep watching from the sidelines. Keep convincing yourself you just don't like crowds. Or maybe, admit you're terrified of what it feels like to actually feel again. Jamaica's festivals don't just invite you in. They dare you to remember you're human. Number 2, Jamaican cuisine. Fiery flavors in the heart of the Caribbean. Let's cut the nonsense. Most of you aren't hungry, you're bored. You don't eat because you're starving. You eat because your soul's on airplane mode and food is the only notification that still gets through. Let's talk about your relationship with flavor. It's like your last situationship, safe, lukewarm, and somehow still disappointing. You're out here calling boneless chicken breast dinner, and wondering why your taste buds are filing for emotional neglect. But Jamaican cuisine? It doesn't do subtle. It doesn't whisper. It barks, it bites, and then it hugs you after. You want something useful in 10 seconds? Here's your slap of truth. Jerk chicken isn't just food. It's a full-blown identity crisis for your palate. The Scotch bonnet doesn't care about your mild preference. It comes in swinging like it's got beef with your ancestors. And the smoke? That's not seasoning. That's a lifestyle. Jerk is what happens when fire and flavor hook up in the back of a dance hall and decide to raise hell. And before you cry too spicy, remember, pain is temporary. Flavor is forever. Some of y'all need to stop fearing heat and start fearing how bland your life's gotten. Now let's stir the pot. Literally. Ackee and saltfish, Jamaica's national dish. Sounds simple, right? Wrong. It's like your ex, complicated, salty, and weirdly addictive. Ackee looks like scrambled eggs, but has the audacity to be a fruit. You read that right. A fruit pretending to be eggs, married to salted cod, sautéed in onions, tomatoes, and Scotch bonnet because Jamaican food doesn't believe in playing it safe, and neither should you. You ever wonder why food tastes better when you're on vacation? It's not the beach. It's not the freedom. It's because for once in your life, you're actually paying attention. Back home you inhale lunch over emails like you're in a hostage negotiation. In Jamaica, you pause. You breathe. You chew like you mean it. Then there's the patty, the Caribbean's mic drop. A flaky, golden pocket stuffed with beef, so seasoned it could run for prime minister. And don't you dare call it an empanada. That's like calling Rihanna just another singer. Disrespectful. And deeply incorrect. Wash it all down with sorrel drink, hibiscus petals, ginger, cloves, and sugar. Tastes like Christmas got drunk and decided to become a refreshing summer beverage. It's floral. It's fiery. It's everything your canned soda wishes it could be. And here's your gut punch. Jamaican food isn't just spicy, it's honest. It doesn't sugarcoat. It doesn't apologize. It says what it means what it says, and expects you to keep up. Which is probably why it's terrifying to some of you. Because you've been served watered-down, mass-produced meh your whole life. And suddenly, this island hands you a plate that feels like therapy. Only louder. And with more pepper. So yeah, Jamaican cuisine? It's not for the faint of heart. It's for the people brave enough to taste life again. Number 1. The cost of living in Jamaica. You ever scroll through a Move to Paradise blog at 2 a.m., half dreaming about packing your bags, ditching your 9 to 5, and living your best barefoot life under palm trees, until reality taps you on the shoulder and whispers, "With what money, sweetheart?" Yeah, we've all been there. Because here's the brutal truth no one's putting on the travel brochures. Paradise charges rent. And sometimes it's priced like a scam with a sunset. Let's rip the bandage off quick. Jamaica looks affordable until you actually start doing math. And suddenly, that beachfront apartment feels more like a beachfront delusion. Here's a stat they don't tell you up front. In places like Kingston or Montego Bay, a decent one-bedroom apartment in a safe area can cost $700 to $1,000 a month. Yeah, that's not a typo. That's your fantasy vacation home morphing into your overpriced shoebox in disguise. Utilities? Electricity alone will have you playing, "Is it hot or am I just poor?" Air conditioning isn't a luxury here, it's a financial decision. Expect around $100 to $200 per month, depending on how often you decide not to sweat through your clothes. And food? Let's talk about it. Local produce? Cheap. Fresh. Delicious. Imported stuff, which your picky self is probably used to, will destroy your budget. A gallon of milk? $6. Box of cereal? $8 plus. You'll find yourself negotiating with your inner child like, do you really need breakfast? Transportation? If you're brave enough for local taxis, bless you. If not, rental cars can run $40 to $70 a day, and gas isn't flirting with cheap either. It's full-on dating ridiculous. Now here comes the punch to the fantasy. You thought moving to Jamaica would save you money? The average cost of living in Jamaica is only about 28% lower than the US. So unless you're planning to live like a local, and I mean really live like a local, your American spending habits will follow you, flip-flops and all. And here's the metaphor that hurts the most. Moving abroad doesn't delete your problems, it just puts them in a prettier view. Like placing your credit card debt in front of a waterfall and pretending it's manifesting. You want to make the move? Cool. Just don't pack delusions in your carry-on. We've just peeled back the layers of one of the most vibrant corners of the planet, Jamaica. Thanks for tagging along on this deep dive into a place that's as bold as its food and as rich as its rhythm. If this journey lit a spark, stick around. We've got plenty more corners of the globe to uncover. Hit like, smash that subscribe button, and ring the notification bell so you never miss the next adventure with Direction X. Trust us, you'll want front row seats. See you in the next video. The information is for reference only, so please do your own research before making any decisions.